Hey guys, what is up? Sam or Scorpiola here, and today I have a very exciting video for you that is going to blow your mind. We're going to be going over the entire Cold War Zombies DLC season, not just the main DLC maps, but the perks, bosses, score streaks, field upgrades, and the potential resurrection of Zombies Chronicles 2. It's going to be a big one, but let's get into it. And we're going to start off with the main DLC. In a stream earlier this week, Call of Duty insider Tom Henderson discussed a ton of news surrounding Call of Duty that we'll be breaking down over the coming days, but we're going to start off with the zombies stuff. Tom supported some of the information that we've already heard from other sources, including the Gaming Revolution, being that Cold War is only going to have 4 DLC maps, putting it as one of the lowest map holding games. Surprisingly, only World at War is going to have less maps, as this game is going to finish off at 5. These 4 maps are going to be spread throughout the year, and we already know what these are all going to be and when they're going to release. The first map is already confirmed to release with Season 2, and as of now that is set for February 24th. From here, it's likely we'll see a new map every 1.5 seasons, placing the DLC 2 map halfway through Season 3, DLC 3 with the launch of Season 5, and the final map, DLC 4, halfway through the 6th and final season. In terms of what these maps are, we actually already have some info on that through a combination of leaks and in-game intel. We pretty much know what all these maps are going to be. First up, I'm going to start with what I'm sure you all already know at this point, being that the DLC 1 map is going to be set in Vietnam. We've heard this for a while now, but now we actually have in-game intel that supports this, with this piece of intel that I'm showing here regarding the construction of an Omega Group testing site, which does suggest there is going to be a map taking place on or near the Khe Sanh combat base from the Black Ops campaign. Another suggestion I've seen for this is that this Khe Sanh intel is simply a bit of background lore and a Black Ops reference, and that the map is actually going to be played on Firebase Ripcord, which would make a lot of sense given the map's codename is Firebase C. For those of you guys not familiar, Firebase Ripcord appears in the Cold War campaign, and this is the base we defend with a chopper flying about. Really cool mission, you're seeing it on screen right now, and yeah, I think that is equally very possible. It's incredibly detailed for how little it appears, so I wouldn't be surprised if this is our first DLC map and we've already seen it. From here, we're not too clear on the order of these maps, but we do know that one map is going to be set in the snowy Ural Mountains, a location that has been visited a fair few times in the Black Ops games, including the Summit multiplayer map, the WMD campaign mission and multiplayer map, and the echoes of the Cold War campaign mission and Cold War. So basically this mountain is already in the game. If the leaks are right, this is going to be the setting of Warzone's next map as well, so we're going to be seeing this a lot this year. The Ural Mountains have had some strong links to the Nova 6 project, and some strings found in the game files mention an AI for a Steiner boss, which was seemingly cut from D Machine. It's very likely this was done to save him for a future map, as he makes so much more sense to be featured in the Ural Mountains, as he was the lead scientist behind Nova 6. It's also entirely possible this is just scrap content altogether, or maybe the initial plan was for Orlov to be Steiner. Who really knows, and we really don't know where they're going with the lore behind this, but a cipher found in D Machine actually pretty much confirms the setting of this map with the following cipher. Attention K, initial survey of Ural site verifies it is by far the largest incursion zone yet recorded. We must assume Requiem will detect it via satellite and deploy fire teams regardless of sovereign borders. Recommend continuing operations while monitoring Requiem communications. With your support, I will ensure any new gains remain in Soviet hands. So this cipher is obviously written by a member of Omega Group, simply written to a character referred to as K. This is more than likely Kravchenko, who makes a lot of sense to be the leader of Omega Group and Weaver's Russian counterpart. Most importantly, it literally confirms that Requiem, the team we play as in the game, is going to be sending teams to a site in the Ural Mountains where a dark ether anomaly has been uncovered, telling us without a doubt this is going to be one of our DLC maps. A note I wanted to tag in here while we discuss bosses is that the in-game daily challenge relating to play count kills, being the dogs on D Machina, has some interesting wording where they don't refer to them as play counts, they simply says hound enemies, potentially implying that future DLCs will include alternate variations on those elemental dogs. Now it seems like we may also be going to Berlin for one of our DLC maps in a remake of Kino der Toten. How awesome is that? We know this through a computer on the creator class screen in Cold War Zombies, which displays a map. Eric Maynard and one unknown player, big shouts outs to those guys, have discovered this map points to Berlin, specifically an odd tower which can be seen outside of the map in both the Black Ops and Zombies Chronicles versions of Kino der Toten, heavily teasing a Berlin Zombies map which will incorporate a remake of Kino. If this is a coincidence, it's the most insane one ever, because this structure is very odd, it's very clearly the same thing. This map obviously won't be a simple remaster, it will be a heavy remake like Die Maschine is, which might not necessarily contain the entirety of Kino, but at least use the iconic parts of it, allowing players to let that nostalgia come right back on one of the most nostalgic maps of all time for many. It's likely they'll also incorporate other buildings in Berlin to make this a totally new experience. Both Berlin and the Ural Mountains are actually featured in the campaign of Cold War, in the Brick in the Wall mission in which we free roam around a huge area of the Berlin city, and in Echoes of the Cold War, where we revisit the Ural Mountains WMD facility which was previously attacked by Weaver and Hudson, which is particularly interesting as Weaver is now obviously leading our Requiem Zombies team, creating a nice little link there. Treyarch classically loved to reuse campaign assets, even the original Ultimus crew are straight out of the World at War campaign, so it makes a ton of sense to use some of these in the Zombies DLC because it just saves them a ton of development time. While not much is known about the fourth map, it is codenamed as Giant according to leaks, which potentially implies this could be a new Die Maschine styled remake of the Giant, better known as Der Ries. This would be really cool to see given how we started with a Nacht remake, which is obviously the first map of World at War. It makes a ton of sense to end on the final DLC of World at War, Der Ries, with the potential of Verrückt elements in the Berlin map, as for some of you who don't know, Berlin is actually the setting of the real life version of Verrückt. They could also then include Shino Numa elements into Firebase Z to complete the World at War remake saga. I think that would be such a cool decision. Now believe it or not, the long talked about Zombies Chronicles 2 may not actually be dead after all. Some of you may know that for Black Ops 4, Treyarch were originally developing remakes of all of the maps that had previously been skipped in the original Zombies Chronicles in Black Ops 3. These included Mob of the Dead, Call of the Dead, Nuketown, 5, Transit, Die Rise, and Buried. While most of these were probably skipped for good reason due to either controversy around the map or the celebrity cast being difficult to bring back, either way a lot of these were transformed into remakes for the Black Ops 4 season. That's why the entire season was made up of remakes to save on developer time. Smart decision all round. But we never received the Transit, Die Rise, and Buried remakes that were long expected to come as a 5th DLC for Black Ops 4, but I guess with the development issues on Cold War, budget cuts, the failure of Black Ops 4 Zombies, I guess they had to be put aside. But in a glimmer of hope, Call of Duty insider Tom Henderson has said on a stream, Treyarch do still intend to release remakes of the remaining maps, so these remakes may actually end up getting ported over to Cold War to release at some point down the line, either as part of the free content season or a separate paid expansion once we've gotten our 4 main Cold War DLC maps we've just talked about. But with the promise of free DLC for the Cold War Zombies maps, it's likely they'd be totally free if they do end up coming. Unlike Zombies Chronicles, which was a pack of direct remasters of classic maps, these maps were initially intended to be more similar to what Black Ops 4 did with its Ether maps by remaking each of these to add new content, improve upon the originals, and generally create a fresh new experience. This particularly makes sense for these maps as Transit and Die Rise in particular are looked down on by the community as some of the worst of all time, so it makes sense to improve them. Transit, for example, would have removed the fog, denizens, and lava, and made changes to the jet gun, generally fixing most of the map's major issues, while Die Rise would have supposedly added Ruin's grappling hook to make traversing between the buildings easier and stop you falling off, while Buried may have committed the biggest sin of all time by removing my man Leroy. I mean Arthur, I'm never gonna get used to that one. I think Cold War has given us some reason to believe these could actually be cancelled though. If we look at the design of the Die Machine Wonder Weapon, it's pretty similar to the jet gun, and with the Tombstone perk on the way very soon, it seems like they could be trying to reuse some of these assets that were made for the Black Ops 4 versions inside of these new maps in other ways in Cold War. That's all the maps, but let's talk about the other content, because believe it or not, there's a lot other stuff coming with Cold War Zombies, including new perks, modes, score streaks, and a bunch of other stuff. We're going to start off with modes, because we already know a new mode, Cranked, is coming this month. This is going to be a new version of the multiplayer mode, where you're going to have to keep killing zombies, and if you wait too long between kills, you're going to blow up. Unfortunately, much much like Jingle Hells, Easter eggs are likely going to be disabled in this mode. Who knows how this is going to work in terms of rounds, but I'd guess the timer will simply reset at the end of a round. It's possible this could release next week on January 15th, which is a Friday, and 115 Day, which is generally known by the community as National Zombies Day, obviously after Element 115. Last Treyarch game in Black Ops 4, Treyarch released a special Zombies update for 115 Day, releasing double plasma, double XP, a new perk, and began the Gauntlet mode with the unsinkable Gauntlet for Voyage of Despair, but we won't talk about that because as we know, that was a disaster. It seems very possible Cold War's going to want to mirror this next week by releasing the already confirmed Tombstone perk and the new Cranked mode. It seems like DLC perks and modes are going to be a big part of the post-launch content plan for Zombies. Thanks to leaked Dark Ether jingles from the files, we do know that the remaining perks coming after Tombstone are going to be Mule Kick, Double Tap, and PhD Flopper, all complete with Ethereum Crystal upgrades to level up your perks and make them even better. All these perks are going to be added to D-Machina and future maps via the 4 slots on the Wonder Fizz machine, while future maps are likely going to see vending machines added to buy these perks directly, saving the effort of updating the old maps. There are more modes in the files already, including a new Outbreak mode, which according to leaks is actually going to be played on the Fireteam maps. Some rumours have suggested this may be a new take on Black Ops 4's Rush mode, which could be really fun to play on such a huge map. This was a mode where you'd compete against the rest of your lobby to get the most score, go between areas of the map, surviving on a set objective. It was a very fun arcade mode, wee bit competitive but made for some great fun times. But that's not the only Zombies content we're gonna get this year, no, there's plenty more content to come in what may be the most stacked year of Zombies content yet. A new field upgrade is coming called Frenzied Guard. No word on what this does yet, but I'm sure it's going to be sick. I'd have to guess some kind of shield bubble type thing to protect you from damage. Additionally, they're going to continue to add score streaks to the salvage table. We already got the cruise missile as the first DLC score streak, but further ones are likely to come, such as the ones that aren't in the game yet but we know are coming soon, like the flamethrower, the death machine, and the hand cannon. These are obvious additions. Maybe if they went back and added the death machine as a power up like it was before in previous games, I think that would be really cool. But with that guys, that's actually going to wrap up this Zombies Leaks video. I really hope you guys have enjoyed this little roundup of everything we know. I know none of this is like new information, but I wanted to collect it all into one nice video. I really hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, make sure to drop a like to show your support, and if you've enjoyed and want to see more, then make sure to subscribe. I'm also over on TikTok now at ScorpioloYT, so if you want even more daily content, make sure to drop a follow over there. Thanks to everyone for the support on that. It's been awesome getting known on a brand new platform. But yeah, like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you on more Cold War content. Bye!